Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension. There's a video camera that has the ability to see into a parallel universe, where the characters can actually see the demonic world, as well as the demon that haunts them. Yeah, I think they were running out of ideas at this point, because a lot of it plays like a science fiction film. We're back to basics here, where a small family in an enormously big house gets haunted by the demon, Toby, while their innocent child gets possessed. You've got the multiple camera setup, and the obligatory counting of the nights, marking a new event. They went a little heavy on the CGI in this one, and that's understandable given what they were going for. Again, sometimes it's effective, like when you actually see the demonic presence take a vague form in the girl's room. However, there are some missed opportunities. When they finally show the demon at the end of the film, sorry for the spoiler, it looks nothing like what we've been led to believe it's supposed to look like. The CGI also leads to some lame jump scares, which are in abundance in this film. I really don't mind jump scares if they're done well, and with the mounting tension in this film, a lot of it is genuinely scary. But again, once the CGI is incorporated into the movie, it comes off as somewhat cheap. So in this installment, the father character Ryan uncovers a bunch of videotapes, the same ones that keep popping up in all these films apparently, and becomes obsessed with watching them, especially when his daughter Leela starts talking to Toby. A lot of the footage is stuff we've seen from Paranormal Activity 3, which dealt with Katie and Christy as little girls. There's also the inclusion of a new character in the tapes, a leader-type figure who seems to be prepping the girls for something big. While the marked ones introduced the concept of time travel, this one takes the concept a bit further. While watching the tapes, Ryan realizes that the girls are actually describing the room where Ryan and his brother Mike are viewing the tapes, 25 years into the future. There's a scene where Leela enters the room and sneezes, and one of the girls actually responds in the video. That's cleverly creepy. The performances aren't bad, but the one who steals the show is Ivy George, the little actress playing Leela. You honestly believe she's being possessed, and her delivery is quite intimidating.
Get away from me.
Then you have the footage from the Ghost Dimension, where the videographer is able to look into a different world. This is where a lot of that CGI comes into play, but most of it is tasteful. Essentially, you get glimpses into the spirit world, just enough to creep you out a little, but the whole time you're always in the house, so it's like the setting is right on the cusp of the two dimensions. The real creepy parts involve seeing Toby lurk around the house as a big wisp of black smoke. I don't know why, but seeing him crawling around on the ceiling and materializing from thin air is really haunting, even if he is just an After Effects rendering. The story is routine as usual. At one point they even call in a priest to help exorcise the demon, and things don't go too well for him. Eventually we discover that the ultimate goal of the midwives is to bring Toby into the human world. That's it. I'm stunned at how anticlimactic this revelation is. Watching these films, one would think that the filmmakers had an endgame in mind, but after watching this, I'm under the impression that there was no such plan. The filmmakers improvised as each new film came out. When you look at the first movie, there is no context as to why the demon was haunting Katie. The only information we're given is that the same demon haunted her as a kid, but I don't really think there was this grand backstory at that time. When the sequel came out, they decided to expand on the story and explore different aspects of the timeline. Paranormal Activity 2 actually takes place before the original film, explaining how Toby ends up haunting Katie as opposed to her sister Christy. Paranormal Activity 3 is yet another prequel, with the fourth film finally taking place after the events of the original. Each movie adds a little bit to the story, but they simply reference what happened in the prior films and build a foundation from that, which is why they seem to reference the third film an awful lot. A lot of critics have argued that this film answers some of the long-running questions, but raises a lot more. In my opinion, the film barely answers any questions, at least the ones that have been festering on people's minds, and gives an anticlimactic ending to a series that led us to believe there was more to it than there actually was. As the final film in a franchise, it doesn't cut it. They really need to do another film that finally explains what the hell's going on. But as just another entry in the series, it still had me on the edge of my seat.